My name is Roxy, and I am a former client of Shire House. When I was 13 years old, I was in 8th grade, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. I was having a lot of problems just communicating with other people, and we figured out why. I just have sort of a disability, but also in many ways something that just makes me a little bit different, something I just had to try a little harder on. I heard about Shire House through my mom. We were looking for a place to help me grow and mature. It had gotten pretty stressful for me living at my parents' house because we would butt heads all the time, and it was about time that I started looking for a place to call my own. I moved in to Shire House in September of 2014. I just had a great time when I first moved into Shire House. There was a little pressure, I will admit, because living at Shire House, you do want to actually take classes or have a job, and it took a bit for me to put myself out there and start taking classes again. I think Shire House was able to make it easier because for a lot of it, they were letting me do my own thing. They were letting me make my own decisions. I liked a lot of things about living at Shire House. I think one of the best things was living with people that I can call my friends still today. They really helped me form a new social life, a new dynamic. Turns out, I really like hanging out with people. I'm a really outgoing person. When I was living at my parents' house, I thought I was an introvert. When I moved into Shire House, I realized I love being around people. I'm actually kind of an extrovert, who'd have thunk? I moved out of Shire House in July 2017, so it's been a little over half a year that I've been living on my own at my own apartment. Shire House had made me feel very confident in the job that I had at the Winchester Mystery House, and I felt it was time to get my own place. They helped me with the apartment search. We were able to find this great place that's only a mile away from my job, and it feels pretty great. I really love living on my own. It's freeing. I can leave my stuff anywhere I want, not anywhere I want. I put my laundry in the hamper and I put my dishes away, but I have an apartment full of all of my own things, and that feels really rewarding, like I deserved it. I would absolutely recommend Shire House. Shire House has been there for me. I could send anyone a text and they will respond and say, oh, this is how you can do something. Don't worry about it. If I have a problem with a friend, they're there to talk me through it. They've been really solid support for me for 3 whole years, and I'm forever grateful for that.
We're so excited because we have our guest, and she is with us, joining us via Skype, Liz Kane. Do you want to talk a little bit about Liz?
Yeah, Liz is the founder and executive director of Shire House. Before starting Shire House, Liz had been a full-time mom to her daughter Anna and son Paul. The decision to remain a full-time mom was made after Paul was diagnosed with Asperger's at the age of 5. And previously, Liz's work history was in business management, and now she's running Shire House. Welcome to the show, Liz.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
It's such a thrill to have you here. We were saying earlier that the power of a mom, you know, they what is it? Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes, and I so many things have grown out of that.
Absolutely, and I love the word mother in there because so
Right.
often we see in autism,
sometimes
sometimes it's dads, but a lot of times it's the moms who are like, "There's nothing here for my kids, so I'm gonna make it." So tell us your story. When did you start Shire House?
A year after my son graduated from high school in 2012.
Okay, and where are you located, Liz?
We are in San Jose.
Okay, San Jose.
California.
And
yes.
What was the pressing need?
Why did you do it?
Well, we were surprised to learn my son graduated on a particular day, and in making his arrangements for the following week, you know, psychiatrists, counselors, therapists, and so forth, we were told that all of those services dropped because he had graduated with a diploma. If he had graduated with a certificate, then those services would have continued for, you know, a few more years or indefinitely, depending on the need.
Right.
So that's where that awareness came about, and we started trying to figure out what to do next. And there weren't a lot of service providers for over 18, just because the need is so big in the school systems. They tend to use the providers that are available. So again, that being aware of that need, all of those issues have been addressed through Shire House now.
So it's almost like a detriment that he graduated with a diploma because there was nothing left for him, no services.
Correct. Yes.
And how long ago did he graduate? How many years ago was that?
He graduated in 2011.
Okay.
And tell us exactly what the structure is of the program. What is Shire House?
Well, I structured it to meet not just the services that Paul still needed, but he also wanted to go to college, and I wanted him to have the college experience, the college dorm experience. So we wanted to have a house, and we now do a large house with co-ed. We have, so the kids are 18 through 28, and they come with us while they are attending college or wanting to, and we help them with that process. Sometimes they don't want to go to college, so we help them through the employment process, search and finding and so forth. Our in-house services are more therapeutic. We address any behavior or emotional or social issues that the client might have that are keeping them from doing or being where they would like to be at this stage of their life.
Tell us a little bit about the typical Shire House resident. Who's that going to be? Who's it right for?
Shire House is appropriate for someone, a young adult who, like I said, wants to attend college but needs the supported living environment. Someone who's learning to manage a more severe emotional issue like depression or high anxiety. And they come to us and we help them learn to manage that particular diagnosis so that they can, again, start living the life that they envision themselves to live.
So is it
also might be.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Is it primarily for kids with higher functioning autism and Asperger's?
Yes, we're addressing that particular niche of the spectrum.
Okay.
And it could be men or women,
Yes.
but largely between the ages of 18 and 28.
Yes.
Okay.
But then, because like my son is just turned 25, and he was our first client, but he has transitioned out because we are a transitional program. We help them transition into whatever dependent living setting that they choose, whether it's a college dorm or their own apartment, or we've also created what we call our shared housing model, where the young adults go and live on a more permanent, less supported living. So that's another need that came about, and we found a way to solve that particular need.
And you also address social issues you mentioned behavior, but you have begun to address social concerns, correct?
Yes, we've addressed those from the beginning. A lot of our young adults need those support, social skill interventions, and then we also have that's why we started our social opportunity, the Friday night social, where we open our doors to other young adults on the autism spectrum. And the guests do not, it's not just for high functioning, it's for anybody on the spectrum. So we have a variety of levels of function that come to our Friday social.
And that's every Friday from 6 to 9, correct?
Yes, and we've been doing that a few months after we started Shire House, and it's every Friday, even if it's a holiday. They need that consistency to know that there's a place for them to go. And it's been really neat to see, throughout these years, the young adults make friends and then continue and build on those friendships, and which leads us to our mission, which is, creating that community for them.
What is the goal that you would like your clients to reach, Liz? What's the overall goal?
Their particular level of self-management and independent living. So some of our clients that have transitioned out, they might still need some supports in some areas, so we continue to provide those supports at the independent living setting that they are now in.
Okay, let's talk Turkey for a second, because my overwhelming question here is, what is the cost and who's the funding source? Is this all private pay, or does the regional center help to defray cost, or does insurance? Who pays for this?
Well, most of our clients do not qualify for SARC, or did not qualify for a regional center because they were considered too high functioning. So we also a nonprofit. From the beginning, we incorporated as a nonprofit. It is private pay. Our monthly fee starts at $4,500, and that includes room and board and the supportive services that I've mentioned. But it depends on the level of supports that the client needs, but that's the highest cost there is. And then as a nonprofit, we do fundraising for our scholarship fund, because not every client is able to meet the costs.
Yeah.
So we've always had 1 or 2 clients on a scholarship.
Wow. Well, it's certainly a wonderful thing, and I wish that places like the regional center would look at this and see that what is the alternative. That we can't just be saying, okay, you got a diploma
and goodbye.
There you go. We hear Joanne Laura talk all the time about it's the school to couch pipeline for our kiddos on the spectrum. And so, somebody's got to see that funding needs to be made available for this population.
Right.
And yes, what would you like to say, Liz?
Well, I totally agree with you. Right now, we are not doing any sort of advocacy at a state level. We are in conversations with the regional center as to how Shire House's services can be offered to those that are a SARC client. But we're in those conversations. It's not something that has started.
Well, I want to ask you to do me a favor, because it's programs like this that give us all hope, right? And if you will just continue doing what you're doing and keep good records and take data on the outcomes, eventually we'll be able to take that and put that in front of people who get it, and do something with that. So I want you to keep doing what you're doing, but keep the records and take the data.
Yes, we are.
We need to have what you're doing on a larger scope. That's for sure.
Yes, and we have helped 2 other families start a similar program in their state.
Oh, great.
Not using our name, but again, from the beginning, I wanted to build this in a way that we could share it with other parents that wanted to, had a home maybe and wanted to replicate what we were doing.
Right.
And
so if people want to reach out to you, Liz, because they either want to have their son or daughter be a Shire House client, or because they want to create this program where they live, how can they get a hold of you?
The best way is to email me at liz@shirehouse.org.
Okay. And if they go to shirehouse.org, they can find out more information as well.
Yes, our website.
Well, yes. I think it's remarkable. It's that spirit of the mom who's going to make something happen one way or the other that cannot be denied. Right. So we salute you, Liz, for how is your son doing?
He's doing well. He's actually more social than now than we would like him to be, and, so that he can focus and finish his degree.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, what a great story. Thank you so much for all the work you're doing.
You're very welcome.